Hey, what's going on, people in the Facebook and YouTube land? This is your boy Lee Majors coming back once again, and today I am going to talk about. I got a couple of videos that's going to be going down. Today I'm going to talk about running your household like a business. All right, so bear with me, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm taking my vitamins and shit right now. So we gonna get into it. All right, we gonna get into it today. Running a household like a business. Pretty much, how can I say? Every month you're supposed to take inventory. And pretty much with that inventory, you're supposed to itemize everything. All right. And when you itemize everything in the house, like how you itemize everything as far as when you do your taxes, or how I don't know if some of y'all ever, how can I say, if some of y'all ever worked for retail, like worked in a grocery store and they have inventory coming up and everybody got to go in the back and everybody got to line up everything, all the boxes and count or whatever. Well, the same way how they do it actually in the grocery store is the same way that you're supposed to do that in your house. All right. You're supposed to do itemization and inventory, you know what I'm saying, and deduct certain different expenses for stuff that you don't need to buy that you already have in the house. So here's one of the things where I get into how people some of the time when you don't do inventory, how you could double back and waste money and keep buying the same shit over and over again. That's another problem that we have. You know what I'm saying? That's one step away from you being able to, put some money towards something else that could be paid for. So we have the itemization. And when you itemize certain different things, especially when you do file taxes or whatever, and I use the example of filing taxes, you do get those monies back for the taxes that you spent on those items because you need those items to produce, as far as work and production, between washing clothes, buying foods, sales tax. You pay sales tax or whatever, right? People think paying taxes is all fucked up. You know what I'm saying? In some cases, yeah, it is when you don't know the tax code and you don't know how to maneuver like the rich. You know what I'm saying? But everybody have to pay into the system. If you benefit off the system, then you have to pay into the system. And I think that's where a lot of things go wrong at. When people don't understand what the tax codes is and what the standard tax is as far as local, state, federal, etc., as far as the 1090, 1040, or whatever. The more money you make, the more different brackets that you in. So, as far as doing house inventory, and excuse me, I'm taking my vitamins, but as far as doing house inventory, all right, this is something that you have to do. So I do inventory every week. All right, I got my food costs down to like no more than 10%. When you do it like that, right, every dollar is accounted for. And with the inflation time that's going on, you have to really pay attention to everything that you have in the house. All right, your biggest bill is the bill that you pay for rent. Now, if your inventory is tight, all right, which is about maybe 20%, depending on how many people you got living with you or whatever, as far as the food and shit like that. If you ain't got to buy no food or nothing like that, then majority of the money can roll over and go towards the rent or even the telephone bill. This is what you call 101 financial management, all right? When you do it like this, money that you don't even see that hasn't came in yet, you done already freed it up. Okay? So if you having like car insurance, all right, let's just say you did good with your food inventory and you got the food inventory down to like maybe like 7% or some shit like that, close to zero. You ain't got to buy nothing. Everything is in the house. You haven't eaten out. You haven't done none of that shit, right? All right, so you count everything in the house. All right, the price that you got in the house, far as counting up all of the food and everything that you got, right, would have been the monthly expense that you would have had to spend. But you got everything there, okay? So you have your own little grocery store at the house. You ain't got to go back out of the house, you know what I'm saying, for a minute. So you may spend, you know, $300 to $600, but you ain't got to buy no more food for the next couple of months. So the money that you would have had to spend, that could go towards your insurance for your car. That could go towards your telephone bill and everything else. The reason why I stress that people actually pay their bills up ahead of time is because that is the most ultimate security that you could ever do. One of the things that you don't want to do is do the month-to-month shit because, you know, in some cases you may have to do that if they don't allow you to pay it up at times. But I would rather for once when you get paid, then you throw the money back out into circulation. Okay? So itemizing all the items that you got. And then if you know when you free certain things up, you have money for other different things. I tell people all the time, the money is there. The money is there. People don't itemize every dollar to where every dollar needs to go at. And when you have, or anytime when you're in the sense of inflation, this is what goes on. That's why during the Reagan era, because we came up poor in the projects, you know, my grandmother had a second grade education. But one of the things that she did was that she was a real big saver. She knew how to save money. You know, like she was from the country. So they know, you know, basically how to sit on things. And I was a grandbaby on the hip. So, I mean, I actually got to witness her. She used to tie her money up, you know, put it or have it in her bosom, what they call bosom. You know what I'm saying? She tell everybody she broke, but she really wasn't broke. She just knew the importance of when, you know, to spend what was critical, you know what I'm saying? And this is not some highly educated type of thing. She knew what to spend at what time, what was important, and what monies that she had to have for what thing. So, you know, she would make $200 to $300 stretch a whole month. And, you know, some people have a hard time with that. Some people have a hard time because they're used to what they're used to. But here's where I say where the discipline and money management has to come in at. You understand what I'm saying? You have to work your money. And when you're using itemizations and counting things in the house or whatever, you have to work your money to protect you. Now, after you got your inventory done with the food, then you could work on various other different bills in the house. And this is what we call snowballing. All right? These are money management skills that you have to know, you know what I'm saying, before you even get to the next level as far as investing. You know what I mean? You have to manage the house first. Then you had a right to go into investing. All right? Far as if you want to start to invest. And then, you know, with that, you have to have more than a 5-year plan on what you want to do. So basically, you make sure that the house is straight. You know how much your rent costs. All right. So you know what percentages to put aside to make sure that at the end of whatever quarter or month that money is there. If you have any extra, don't save it. Throw it towards an expense that could cover you the next month. So that way you free your income up and more money could actually pour in. I'm going to say this again. Don't save it. Put it on another bill and pay another bill up for the next month. So that way, once when you get paid again, all right, your income could flow in. You have more cash and more money coming in. All right. It's called throwing the money back into circulation. As soon as you get it, you get more of it. More of it will start to come in. Your income will free up, and then you can start to do more shit because all your basic 101 stuff would actually be paid for. You've been done fucked around. If you do this, you've been done fucked around and done paid your expenses up for the next 6 months if you do it correctly. Now, I will say it may take some getting used to at times, but if you sacrifice I can guarantee the first 60 days if you do this, you will put yourself ahead of the game for the next 4 or 5 months if you do it like that. And you know, right now, I do that shit. I've been doing it for like the last 20 something years, but this is why I don't need a big ass salary, because I actually created a system, you know what I'm saying, on how to function off of no more than probably like 60,000 a year. You understand what I'm saying? And that's where I'm comfortable at. I mean, the thing is that when you do the pre-math on where you need to be at, all right? So here it is. I got a chart underneath it here, right? Underneath my desk. And I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to show y'all. Okay, this is the structure chart for the house. This is the structure chart. Okay? And with this one right here, I have rent. All right, so I give up a case scenario. Let's just say I got this one right here at $400 a month. So let's just say the average person pays $400 a month for rent. All right. Within 25 months, he been paid 10 grand. All right, 25 months is approximately 2 years, 1 month, or whatever. But at $400 a month, he been paid $10,000, right? When you do the math and break the math down simple like this, you could clearly know that, okay, well, at $400 a month, at 25 months, that's 10 grand. You know how much you need? Everything is cropped out at a certain price. Boom. If you take 2 months worth of pay, right? And you pay for 3 months, you'll be 3 months ahead. You'll be 3 months ahead. And then you can start quantum leaping and paying the rent like every 3 months. So you take a certain percentage of your money and you sacrifice a certain percentage to be able to handle and secure your rent. And the rent is already paid. Now, if the establishment don't take the the advance that you're given, and they say that you have to pay every month, then you could just leave it in the bank and they could draft it accordingly. All right. But those funds will be there accounted, you know what I'm saying? They'll be accounted for, and your rent will be paid. You have the money for your rent. But that's what I'm saying. Pretty much we take these things and we build these things. Next thing you know, when you have your light bill, your electric bill, you build up funding for these things. So you take the time out by itemizing all these items so that way that you can get to that point to make your money work for you. I try to explain how to make your money work for you with the bare minimums. This is what you call special forces thinking. You use what you got around you. You understand what I'm saying? To really actually make do until you actually hit your goal. Now, $400 a month, if you was to save $400 a month for 2 years, that's 10 grand. That is a long-term goal. Well, short-term, long-term goal. $400 ain't nothing. That's 4 carton of motherfucking cigarettes. I'm going to say it again. $400 ain't nothing. That's 4 carton of motherfucking cigarettes. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, for 2 years, that's 10 grand. If you paying for a room or anything like that, you'll be able, to do that. So usually I'm sharing certain systems and certain techniques that I use, in order for me to actually spread my money out and have my money protect me and have my money work for me. Because just like the stock market, you are a stock yourself. All right. So you have to look at it like this. All right. A man who sells drugs, buy more drugs to sell more drugs, to buy more drugs to sell more drugs. His commodity is drugs. Even if he had more drugs than cash, he still has somewhat of value as long as he has a demand to disperse of the drugs. And I say this because I'm saying this to grab y'all attention to let you know. This is what enterprising is all about. This is what distribution of capital and wealth is all about. It's all about who is better at managing, you know what I'm saying, these particulars as far as funds. And the best person who is capable of doing that will be the best person who can accumulate a certain amount of cash, liquid, and credit, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They looking for people who actually could deal with debt. A lot of people don't know how to deal with debt. And you know, the thing is that when you have assets or whatever, right? It's nothing but shit that you actually own that you putting cash into. You know what I'm saying? I would never ever purchase or buy something, you know, that doesn't accumulate anything. I'd rather own a bunch of businesses. I'd rather own a bunch of businesses or own a bunch of stuff that I can liquidate, assets that I can turn into liquid before I actually have anything that's not worth anything or anything that they may deem of value that I can't get no money off of. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like, all right, well, you have to know where you're putting your money at, right? Okay, far as rent is concerned, people say, okay, well, you know, if you put in your rent, you ain't getting no money back off your rent. Technically, a man needs shelter. People need shelter. So actually you paying rent, you know, it gives you the ability, for one, to stay out of outer elements and you won't be out on the street. Two, to the ability to have somewhere to sleep. To have a base of operation, you know what I'm saying? You have your own space, you pay for your own quarters or whatever like that. So that is an investment all within itself or whatever. So you can't look at paying rent. It is mandatory that everybody has to pay rent. That is one of the country's #1 incomes as far as paying rent is concerned. It makes the whole motherfucking country run. So that's bullshit. Now, when you pay a mortgage, here is something where now you want to own a house, where you have equity into a house. This is something that you put money into. The housing market makes, you know, money or whatever. And, you know, it's a lot of moving parts with that. And I'm sure, you know what I'm saying, that if you really study that, you'd be able to get money out of it. But I will say this, it's an asset that you have that you can own. The land you don't own, so forever you will pay tax to the people that own the land as far as the land tax. That's a given. Everybody has to make money. The house, if you're paying the mortgage, you got equity in the house, you always can take equity out of the house and refinance the house to pay the land tax. Or you can roll that shit up into one. All right. I know I may seem all over the place, but what the main thing of what I'm talking about is about the particulars on the money management. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I'll go back to this right here. This shit right here. All right, you got 3 to 6 months of expenses. You got, you know, you invest 15% of your income as far as retirement. You know, you have $1,000. Also, yo, check out David Ramsey, because David Ramsey actually break this shit down, man. Really check him out. Really check him out. I've been following David Ramsey now for like the last 6 years, almost 6 or 7 years, but he breaks it down. What I did was I took a little bit the 7 baby steps from his system and then incorporated with a system that I already got, which made my shit even more effective. You understand what I'm saying? So big ups to David Ramsey, you know what I mean? And you know, he a white Texas man that knows his shit, you know what I'm saying? And despite the fact of race, creed, or color, the man, you know, put this out there so that all Americans can actually use this. Now, you got this down here. Let's just say if you pay $100 for food in 25 months, and I come up with these different scenarios and come up with these different things. In 25 months, that's 2 years you've been unpaid $2,500 in food if you pay $100 a month for food. All right? Now, you got the letter system where you may break down, you know what I'm saying, and pay when you do things in 200s, all right? So every $200 is accounted for something. So $200 for food, $200 for cable, $200 for the phone, $200 for the gas, $200 to pay yourself, $200 for lights, $200 for vitamins, because you're working and shit, $200 for emergency fund, $200 for a training fund, and you spend $200 to go out. All right? So if you break that shit down into the letter system. So this is the emergency fund system right here, which I say again, 3 to 6 months of expenses for our savings. The 3 to 6 months of expenses for our savings is just in case if some shit go down or something happen, you can still maintain your motherfucking bills. All right? Invest 15% of your income. Your investment for your retirement, you should elongate that for the next 30 years. All right? That shit shouldn't even stop. All right? The $1,000 far as the E-Fund, the $1,000 should be in cash and you should keep that shit in a safe in your crib. 3 to 6 months of saving expenses at about $500 a month, you can build it up to that. And mind you, I'm going to tell you like this. Just so you won't have the mental, how can I say that, like to be mentally drained of trying to save money. Your savings should be at a number that you are on. Basically, it should be half of what your yearly expenses is. It should be half of that. All right. So that way you won't spend a whole bunch of time on it. So let's just say if you making 40 a year, then you should have 20 in your emergency fund. You know what I'm saying? As far as your savings, you should have $20,000. All right. That's about 6 months to keep everything going, to keep all the bills paid, etc., etc. You got all that shit broken down. But how can I say? Because we at 21 minutes. The main thing about this and what this video is saying is we talking about itemization. All right. We talk about itemizing, counting everything in the house. It's about counting everything in the house. Do inventory in your house, because that is another way where you could actually save money. And you will have monies left over out of your pay to be able to invest if you keep the budget in your household down. You understand what I'm saying? Because as you working, right, if you look at other businesses, they look at and see whether or not if they're going to be busy or whatever, you know, as far as production and shit like that every day. So they look at the resources, how much it costs to run your household. You have to really look at that. How much does it cost to run your household? Nobody never talks about the cost that it costs to run your household. You know what I'm saying? We spend about anywhere between, I say, $3,600, maybe $3,800 a month to run the whole household. That includes gas. That includes all the basic necessities that we need. And half of that, a big bulk of that is the rent, the lights, the phones, and all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I try to always see what way that I could save about $1,500. When you do inventory in the house, that number gets cut in half. All right. So if you could find 1,500 ways to save $1,500, then the money for the rent would actually be there. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about by itemizing, because some of the time you don't have to buy certain things. And I tell people all the time, look at how much you're eating out. Look at how much you're saving. Look at how much gas that you are burning. All right. Some of the time, you know, catching an Uber, even though you may drive, it's good. You know, you may drive to work 3 days out the week, but you may catch an Uber to work twice a week. That's cutting shit in half. That's how you save a little bit of money. Next thing you know, if you do that 4 times that month, you got more gas money. Okay? But anyway, I just wanted to share that with y'all. This is your boy Lee Majors, all right? I'm talking about itemizing and really actually counting the inventory into your house. This is what it is. I hope y'all enjoy this this actual video. It's going to be more to come. You know what I'm saying? We at 24 minutes right now. But it's going to be more to come, man. And I'm just slowly building this channel. If you can subscribe, pass on this motherfucking information, man, because we here, you know, dealing with this inflation shit. And I really hope that y'all take the time out to really actually grasp some of these, you know, techniques, you know, and strategies or whatever to survive. You know, it always starts in the house first. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, no doubt. Peace and love. You know what I'm saying? And there's strength and mobility, man. Out.